W4CY Radio.
Well, there we go. Hallelujah. Anyhow, we are here and welcome to another segment of excitement and information and wisdom and prosperity of conversation. But of course, good evening to our Facebook and all of our social media folks, whether you're watching this live with us or you're going to come by later on and take a look at it. We thank you for your loyalty. We thank you for your interest. And we're just thankful. I want to say thanks to our DJ. Like I said, he is our DJ, but his name is DJ. He is there making us do what we do and look good and stay in the now. And of course, we can't do it any further. We have to have an awesome team effort. We have to put forth a team effort. You have to rely on your team. You got to count on your team. You have to have expectations of your team. You got to know that your team got your six, which I don't understand that phrase, but it sounds really cute. And I like to do that and say that in public. That really confuses people. They're like, what did she say? Are they in the military? Or are they on the police? But anyway, let me stop. Let me introduce my fabulous co-host. Since Tommy is already unmuted, I'm gonna say, hey girl, you right round the corner? You right round the corner for me?
All right, round the bend, right round the bend.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Amen and amen. And of course, we have Miss Trey about the way, and we were talking before we got on the show. Trey, what's happening?
Hey.
See, it just brings it out of you. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, it does.
Amen and amen. Well, thank you all for coming on and being here and having this energy, this raw energy, and just celebrating the Lord and just being that living epistle and role model of faith and belief and loyalty and love. And I just thank you guys as always. We're just 2 months away from our year anniversary. Can you believe it? We've been on here for 10 months. Come on, Holy Ghost. Come on, and wow. You know what I'm saying? I was like, couldn't believe it. I said, wait a minute. It's going to be 2 months. It would be 2 months. And I am going to maybe contact Governor DeSantis, my governor here, and say, I want a declaration day. I want February 14th to be setting it straight day. All right. Don't try me. Okay. Because he's doing other things. So, here we go. But nevertheless, but yeah, we got 2 more months and we will be at it and, be here on a year and we're already good to go for another year. So God is good. And I just know we're doing it right. We're doing it right. Because if he says shut it down, we shut it down, and we go on and we keep going on. But to give God glory tonight, we want to talk about 'tis the season. 'Tis the season. But now, as we're going on here, the Lord wanted me to share some scripture from today. And from Proverbs 19. Today is the 19th day. And as I share with people, you can read the book of Proverbs. It's 31. There are 31 chapters in the book, and you can read a chapter a day. You can study a chapter a day. But today's a couple of verses here. Verse 3: the foolishness of a man perverteth his way, and his heart fret against the Lord. Verse 5: a false witness shall not be unpunished, and he that speaketh lies shall not escape. And finally, verse 8: he that getteth wisdom loveth his own soul. He that keepeth understanding shall find good. shall find good. Amen. That's the word of the Lord. So we don't be making up stuff. That's God. You doing wicked stuff. You think it's behind closed door. As you can see now in this last year, 2 years, 3 years, everything has been revealed and exposed more than we could ever imagine. All kinds of things, all kinds of dealings, all kinds of people who had their hands in the pot. All of us, all kind in every arena: education, church, state, government, economics, even the land in which we get our food from, how the farmers have been treated, how people are left out, how one entity owns like 7 sub entities. And you don't even know that they're over those things until they say, oh yeah, but so-and-so owns this, and this. That's the mothership over there. So everything's been exposed. Everything, the cream has risen to the top. And there's more to come, unfortunately. There's more to come because you're going to have some explanations on what's going on in this world. And why is it that this is not doing right? And why is it that that's not doing right? And why is that food spoiling so quickly? And you put in expiration dates that that are not aligning themselves with the actual meat or food or the taste actually spoiling right there before your eyes. But by the time you get the hamburger meat home, you look at it and there's a spot on it. And we're supposed to trust you? We're supposed to trust man? But this is the season. 'Tis the season. Everybody's going crazy right now. They're not even smiling as they're Christmas shopping. I'm watching the faces as I take my little basket, and I just be looking at them. And they just be digging through I'm like, and they're mad because they have to buy a gift. They're mad. And I'm like, oh my God. Kids are coming in, just giving their parents all kinds of havoc, just screaming, falling all over the floor. And you're about to run the basket over them because, people not paying attention. They walking right in front of you. They don't even wait till the car stop. They don't even wait till you stop. They just walk right in front of you thinking, I'm supposed to see you. Well, you don't know how new my car is. The brakes may not be working today. And there's nothing I can do about it. But you don't want to even wait. You're not even making eye contact with me anymore. 'Tis the season of stress and just like frustration. Frustration. Ladies, what are you thinking about? 'Tis the season. What are y'all seeing in your spheres of influence and where you're walking around at? And what are you seeing right now? Go ahead, Trey.
Well, I just thinking about 'tis the season, and the saying 'tis the season to be jolly. And so the jolly or the joy part for me is because knowing the reason for the season, the birth of Christ. But also it takes on a new meaning for other folks. It's especially the loss of a loved one. This will be my first without my dad. But there's and like I said, and I'm joyful that he lived to be 91. But I'm watching my peers around me, different platforms, and they're losing folks way younger. Didn't have the opportunity to spend time with their family members. People are losing spouses. People are losing children. People are losing pets. It's you have to take that seriously. So when I thought about 'tis the season, sometimes you have to put yourself in a frame of mind and just recognize what it really was designed for. The celebration for the birth of Christ. But then too is also a stressful moment because that's when people spend a lot of money or feel they need to spend a lot of money, and that becomes stressful. That becomes stressful. Do I have enough to spread around, and do you feel obligated to buy something for someone that has bought you something unexpectedly? That can be stressful. You said, now I don't have it to give. And so when you think about 'tis the season, I was looking at how I can relay or think about 'tis the season. And when I think about 'tis the season, I also think about letting things go. giving things to God and let Him try to handle things to the best of your ability. And it's difficult, especially when you're going through something, especially if you're going through grief or loss or feelings of helplessness or hopelessness. But I also thought of what TIS could be is as far as an acronym can be, take it seriously. There are people who are struggling with mental health, who are struggling with depression, who are taking their lives. Look at the gentleman just committed suicide, Twitch from Ellen DeGeneres show. And on the outward, if you're outside looking in, it appears that everything was going well. He had a TikTok with his wife. He had a beautiful family. He was on a show for a while. He was, his claim to fame was dancing. But, you always wonder what was that thing that just kind of set it off that he felt like he had to go away from here. And I guess we might not ever know. But that's what I think about with folks. Folks from the outside can appear that they got it going on, but struggling internally and trying to keep it together. And sometimes you find yourself in those moments, why? But then God said, well, why not? I know He puts things on you that you, no more than you can bear, but sometimes things seem unbearable. And especially when you're going through things, it seems like there is no end to it. And it's just dragging you along and dragging you along. And each day you hope to go stronger. But so that's why I wanted to say 'tis the season. And I think just it's time I'm looking forward to 23 to kind of let some stuff go and to move. This year hasn't been the best, hasn't been the worst, but haven't been the best, and looking forward to see what 2023 brings. And so as a fresh start, January, and just go from there. And I'm just being helpful and hopeful and just taking it all in and just trying to figure out where else I can be of a help, where I can give to other folks, whether might not be financially, but, my time, calling folks more, I don't know, just trying to do my best to be kinder to people. I think I'm pretty kind, but just maybe it's a way I can be kinder. What else can I do? And hopefully other folks will want to be kind, because this world is kind of cruel right now.
Amen to that. And today, go ahead, Tommy, and then I'm gonna share.
Well, I'm gonna say people are confused because today we were on an outreach and biggest day in this yard, it says Jesus is the season. I'm like, no, He's the reason. He's not the season. And I was like, are they confused? Did they get the S and the R confused? Because R is right in front of S. So I'm like, okay, so what is really going on? My thought is that a lot of times people get it confused. They're how you say it, this is the season. They think that everybody's supposed to give. I just told my family, I don't have it. And I can't. So I'm not stressing myself out. I'm not rushing out to do anything out of the way, overextending myself, because I don't have it. So I'm gonna keep moving. Now, who's to say I won't make up for their birthdays when their birthday come? But they just work with me. And that's where I'm at. I'm not struggling, but I'm not where I want to be. And I know where I want to be. I have to, like you said, back up, let go, change things to make things happen. So I'm just backing up because I want to stay in the reason for the real season and not get it mixed up or confused. That's what I'm saying.
Amen. Go ahead, Trey.
No, I just when I was thinking about, because I was thinking about it earlier, and I think when we talk about the season, and I think people are strapped out, but I thought a creative way to maybe do some stuff. So it's not like necessarily an IOU. I can't buy you a gift, but maybe one day I can give you a ride somewhere, or maybe one day I can babysit, or maybe I can cook you a meal or something when I have it to do. And I thought about that because then it becomes less stressful. You can do it when you're able to. It's almost like I promise a service. I can't just buy a gift. And sometimes a service could be good. I iron your shirt for you. Something, just something creative that will take the weight off of someone else. And I just want to throw that out.
We used to do that. Put it in a card and say, I'll babysit for you when you need me. Let me know such and such a time. Or baking a can of cookies and giving the 10. So, I mean, but you did it from your heart. And that's what made it so great. Not that you're giving because it's Christmas and you give. It's what you make it. It's all in what you make it.
Yes, God is so awesome, and everything I say everything. I agree with everything you all have said 10 times over, because it's creativity time now. It's creativity time. You can get on your computer and you have a printer and you can print out make up your own little coupons. This entitles the bearer an opportunity of 1 30-minute session of listening. Make it funny, make it cute. 30 minutes of humor nonstop. This entitles you to one free sweet potato pie within the next 6 months. You give me the date, you'll get one pie. Listen, where are those days? Where are those days? That was fun. I remember a few Christmases back, before I went in the hospital from one of my aunts. The Lord laid it on my heart. He said, help her to get her hair done. So I called her daughter. I said, who does she go to down there? And could you call her for me and ask, does she have certificates and things like that? So the lady did. And I said, okay, would you tell her I'm going to make up a certificate. I'm going to put it in Auntie's card. And so she can tell me how much is a relaxer. I know she'll get that done every 4 weeks or 6 weeks. How much is a wash and shampoo and set, and style. So my cousin called me right back. She goes, oh my God, Mommy's going to love this. And I gave her 3 coupons and I had the lady's name on there. This entitles her. And I had Erica to go and pay the lady. But in my aunt's Christmas card was these 3 coupons where she could get her hair done. Because it's been so stressful. This morning, the Lord had me to call my baby sister. And I said, hey, what's going on? I was checking on my niece and everything. And it segued into just really unloading some things. And, she was just sharing, how she has viewed from her side being in this family and everything. And I came along and I said, and the Lord kept nudging me. I said, there's something else you need to tell me. And hey, this is a safe space. I'm going to still love you. I'm going to still be here, but let me have it. I need to hear this because God is telling me I need to hear this. And sure enough, all these years, it was a gross misunderstanding. She read it one way because I made it, and I said, I never thought of you that way. Never. That was never on my mind. I am so sorry. I said, I wish you'd have told me. And this is from years ago. I wish you'd have told me this. Because you've been carrying that till today. And then I was able to reveal something because, my niece, my sister has her own friends and stuff like that. So, of course, girlfriends say, oh, this is my niece. I'm your auntie. And I said, you know what? I felt some kind of way because being adopted, and especially when you come back into the fold or you come to the fold, they have their own set of history. all your relatives, even on the gray side, you've had your histories, and I share those histories. I know those stories. But the biological people, they've got their histories too. And and you sit there and you feel like I'm the outsider. And it's very clear because I don't know anything about your mysteries. I mean, your histories, unless you share them. And that'd be my first time. So I decided, because it was too stressful to be a part of that. Because then you sit there and everybody's laughing and you're like, I can't even relate. So I chose, and I had to admit to my sister that I feel that that's probably one of the reasons why I've not come to my niece's birthday parties. Because I'm not a part of your friend. They don't know me. I don't know them. My niece will have to get to know me. But I didn't want to hear one of the friends say, come to auntie, come to auntie. And I'm like, I'm the only blood relative here. I'm the only biological aunt she got. But I have no right to take that away from those other people. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, so what do? Don't go. I missed an event this weekend. I just felt I didn't want the attention taken off of the event. It just, you feel some kind of way. And I don't know those people. They don't know me. And I'm like, I have to, I look a little clumsy trying to sit down and try to grab a drink and try to get my plate of food. So no, I choose not to participate. I'll take y'all out to lunch. It just be you and I, So you wonder, but we needed this morning. We were on the phone for over 2 hours. Didn't even know it. But we're just, trading stories and just, I told you, you're in a safe space. It's safe to talk to me. I'm still going to love you. I will still support you. I'm here. You can't run me away at this point. Now, I can't say that for everybody because I don't want to hear everybody else's other stuff now. No, that's your issue. You making stuff up in your head. No, I'm not going to sit here. But this is a time, this is a season for getting it straight. Settling, no violence, no bloodshed, no breaking things, none of that. I need to let you know how I feel. Because tomorrow is not promised. And I don't want to take this another minute, not another day. I don't want to take this another minute. So I've checked in with people this whole year. How do you feel about me? Did I rub you? Did I say the wrong thing? Let me know. I can handle it. And our relationship is important for me because I didn't do that for everybody. I didn't do that for everybody because I know you're going to bring nonsense. But when the Lord laid on my heart, I'm like, okay, why I keep seeing this person's face? Let me call them. And then I just want to say, if I've done anything, if I've misled you, misinformed you, said something that you couldn't digest it well, please let me know. If you've called me and I interrupted you, I've got a bad habit of doing that because I want to make everybody happy. So you got to tell me, hey, I'm calling to vent. When you say that, I do something to make myself uncomfortable so I can listen to you and I can keep my mouth closed. Because I found out that because I don't want you to hurt. I don't want you to, no, we got to answer. Let me tell you right now, I cut you off.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's fine. Because sometimes we need that time to vent. Or sometimes you do need to cut it short. Sometimes you have to do that. It's how they say, sometimes it's okay to be rude because you need to be at that moment. It's okay.
And I think just piggybacking on what you said too, Tommy, we as people have to learn to pick up on cues, social cues, body language, facial expressions. And Leisha, you do it all the time in therapy. You know when someone doesn't want to be there. Sometimes silence is or talking is not always the way to communicate. You know, the other gestures and body, like I said, body language, and you pick up on how people stuff. And I think sometimes we have to be in a point too. It's not all about getting our points across. You know, sometimes we just need to do more listening. And I ask people, do you hear me? Or are you listening? Because I can hear you. I can hear your voice, but am I listening to what you're saying? You know, taking in account the words that you're saying to me and how it makes me feel. And sometimes it has to be mutual. And I think what you said, creating safe space, Alicia, I think those are great because people don't have safe spaces. You know, maybe the gentleman, I hate to keep resorting to that, but this was a guy that was very popular, you know, well known by a lot of folks, and people were just trying to figure out why. And not saying that his situation was either better or worse, but if this is what he felt he needed to do, what are some other people feeling that they need to do? And I mean, is there a safe space for you to talk? You know, and looking at past videos of Ellen talking about how much he meant to her. He was part of the family. You know, she made him, I think, executive producer. You know, but what was missing? What was that one thing that said, you know, I can't do this anymore? I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but this tunnel seems like it's getting longer and longer, and I don't like the way I feel. And so, how do we do that? How do we create these safe spaces, Alicia, and bringing other people on board? Maybe we do a topic on creating a safe space. And sometimes you got to tape your mouth or whatever you need to do to be quiet to let somebody just talk. Sometimes it's just a matter of letting someone talk and only respond when they ask you to respond. Just getting it out. Because if you don't have anywhere for this to go, if you don't have the tears or it's gonna look different. It could be very destructive. And I think that's, you know, we can try to do something like that and get, you know, teaching other folks how to create safe spaces where they can communicate if they feel like this is all, I don't want to take it anywhere.
Well, that's what expressive arts does. And that's what I'm bringing into my practice now. As a matter of fact, over the next few weeks before January 1st, I'm going to, take down one of my card tables and put some supplies on there because expressive arts does that. It's non-talking. It's just hey, you know what? Do me a favor. I need to do some breathing with you. Also, I want you to go over to the table there and there's some art supplies, whatever you want to do. There's a journal over there. If you like to journal, you can take it with you. You know, just go do for a minute. And I'd say nothing. You don't analyze the work. You don't do anything. You can say, no, you can take that with you. And the way we bring it make meaning, we call it make meaning, is we'll do it pre and post. We'll do it once you come in. I introduce myself. Hey, I need you to do me a favor. I just want you to go over there. You want to doodle? You want to, I can't take the smell of Play-Doh, so we won't have that in the office. But go in and do. Then you come back and we'll do the assessment. And then when I see things maybe getting a little tight, or that can kind of ease you a little bit. It's going to ease you a little bit. And then I say, you know what? Before you leave, go ahead and do another one. And they'll be expecting to talk about it, but you don't talk about it. Let them take it with them. And let them compare the pre and the post themselves and come to that. But yes, we could talk about, it's funny you should bring that up because when we get to our brainstorming session over the holidays, I want to talk about, when we talk about January, we're going to need that. So we can start off the year, start off 2023 and talking about creating a safe space, creating that just holding the space also. That's another part of expressive arts. Holding the space. I got you. Say what you need to say. I got you. It's not going anyplace else. And I that's going to roll over. That could roll over into churches. That could roll over into classrooms, both as post-secondary, secondary, college, collegiate, doctoral, because that's the class I just passed. Thank you, Jesus. Expressive arts and social work. Dealing with trauma informed. So it's coming out now. And it's okay to, and I'm going to talk about, how we are taught academically to color inside the space. Color inside the lines. Expressive art is like doodle. Just don't pick the pencil up. Just don't don't let the pencil leave the construction paper or the paper. Just doodle. It don't have to be nothing. It don't have to be concrete. It don't have to be a coffee cup in the sunlight or a rainbow. It don't have to be nothing. Just don't pick up the pencil and see what you got. Do you cover the page? Do you just scribble right in the middle until you tear a hole in the paper? You know, and it does help people to be able to sit back and say, oh, wow. And I'll share some of my drawings too that I had to do for homework, because I am not a drawing person. But thank you guys for you just held the space for me a few minutes ago. Because, to be misunderstood, to have people walk away from you, and that whole rejection thing keeps going over and over. When you're adopted or when you've been in foster care, the spirit of rejection is real. And we can talk about that another time on the show, but it's very real, and it keeps showing up unless you resolve. Even though you cave it away, you're sitting there and you're taking the ice pick and you're trying to pick it away, and you try to get down to that foundational piece, and you can never get there because there's always somebody else gonna bring it up, or bring up that you're not worth it. Or I thought you were gonna do this, and trying to, the guilt and all that kind of nonsense. All that. So I love my sister and she loves me, and it's pure and it's real, and it's our relationship now. It's not because she is my biological sister. It's because she really loves me and I really love her. And she just stepped up. I'm in the hospital. She gets the call from my aunt, and she calls my daughter to confirm it. And she's on her way with her new husband up here to get to know her niece and nephews on a whole different level. And she stayed here until they were steady. And she's way younger than me. But I thank her over and over and over again for what the impact, and that's part of my children's memory, because it helped to offset what they were going through with me. So I'm not going home for Christmas, but I made sure my goddaughter took a gift home for my niece. And I called my sister. That's why I was really calling her today to say, Missy's going to be giving you a call because she's got Neri's gift. Go ahead, guys.
What you just said was so true. And I'm just going to be real and transparent right now. Friday, I was celebrating my birthday. Friday. But I was supposed to leave town at a certain time. And all of a sudden, I got heavy. I don't know what was going on. I don't have words to explain it. But immediately I thought about, like you saying, Trey, that young man, what was he going through? And it made me laugh for a minute, because it's like, Satan, you didn't like what I just said last week about taking them 5 minutes and spending time with God. I said, but you know what? You're a liar. I had to call him out, because it wasn't depression, but it kind of put me in what they call a funk. And had I sat down and dwelled in it, who knows what else he could have put in my head, or what I could have been thinking about. And I was like, I had to push it off and just call it out. And after that, I felt okay. And I just felt the joy of the Lord in my heart at that point. It was like I was invincible. But everybody don't have that kind of relationship, know how to call on him in order to overcome what it just like jumped on me. It just from no, it's like I didn't have it. It was just there. It's almost like you came to a stop sign, but the stop sign jumped in front of you, and you like, where did this come from? So I immediately thought about that young man and saying, wow, wow, what happened? And I was just like, even with myself, I'm like, you know me, Miss Gray. I'm always, hey, what's the jovial. That's who I am. That's what I know. I'm not a life of a party, but I can keep the life going. Or as they say, I'll keep the candle lit. But at the point of that, I just didn't know what happened. I just didn't know what happened. And it concerned me a minute, but it only lasted for a minute. Because like I said, I know who I am and I know who I serve. And I have the strength of his word in my heart to speak those things as he would have me to speak it down. So it's just one of those things. And it ain't about the season. It ain't, it wasn't about a Christmas situation or anything. It just all of a sudden hit. And this is that time of year where more people deal with suicide or destruction than almost any other time of the year. So I'm not sure. I don't have the answer. I'm not your psych major, but at the same time, I know there's something that I wish we could do more for the people to help them through this. And it's just like with my job, I just threw out at my manager that I would like to do a summit for young men. And she said, good idea. And she gave me this book with 7 habits, good habits to have. And one of them says, get an understanding so that you will be understood. And I thought that was so profound because so often our young men and our young women, they're misunderstood. But at the same time, they don't understand. So that is something I would like to bring up when we do our time to get a understand, allow people to express themselves so people could better understand. And they could, like you said, it was very profound that what you just said with you and your sister. Y'all was misunderstood because you didn't understand. But that cycle done broke because now y'all got y'all understanding. Now there's no more misunderstood. And that's what I would have to say today.
Yeah, people are under such a cloud even before 2020 occurred. Because 2020 brought a whole new set of stuff. It brought a whole new conclave of stuff and issues and piled upon each other. We entered 2020 with the pile. It wasn't one thing here and one thing. No, it's a pile of stuff. And then the world shut down. And you had no choice but to stay in that space with that person that you just argued with. That you already say, I'm going to the divorce lawyer. I got to get out of this. And now y'all couldn't do it. You had to be faced with your own children, that the teachers at their schools were trying to get your attention. But you had to deal with that person. Even before they went online. You had to deal with that person. You had to see how they could not unwind themselves. You had to see You had to take a look at yourself. The teachers, once they went online, they had to see the parents, walking around, and drinking and smoking, and they're looking, they're trying to stay focused and teach us. You saw the world just ripped itself wide open in 2020. So folks going through stuff, it just didn't happen overnight. They've been dealing with defensive stuff and issues prior to 2020. 2020 just capped it off where you couldn't do nothing. You couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't escape it. You couldn't run away from it. And all of a sudden, you can't see your relatives. All of a sudden, you can't see each other. You can't go nowhere. This was not a 2-day thing. This was not a 3-day thing, like when a hurricane come through. This is lights out, off, done. Sit where you at. Don't you dare come outside. And I'm still bewildered. I'm bewildered. Twitch got me. I don't get. And I began to pray that soon his wife will reveal what was in that suicide letter or what was going on. When y'all talking about a divorce, can you give us something? Because it makes no sense why this young man killed himself. It makes no sense. And I said it already. I'm going to say it on the air. Based on that, no matter what the reason was, no matter what the reason was given, we will never be able to call it. We can't call it in our own relationships, in our neighborhood. You'll never be able to call in your circle, your outer circle, your your inner circle. You'll never be able to say, I know she's next. She's gonna hurt herself. You'll never be able to say it. You'll never. I have the spiritual gifts of discernment. I have the spiritual gifts. I have the academic gifts. I'll never be able to call it. Never. So all we can do is try to be aware, really listen. And like Trey said earlier, those nonverbal cues. I love nonverbal communication because your body tells me a whole different thing than what your mouth is saying. So I'm looking at you. If your feet are going, if your knee is going up and down, I'm looking. I'm anything. I'm looking. I was at somebody's house, and especially right after I got out of the hospital, and it was before the hospital even, but after the hospital, my hearing, but all of my other sensors heightened. I could hear when a car was pulling up in my driveway. I could hear it. I could hear somebody fussing, and they're on 2 streets over. I could hear it. So I was already I was in this person's house, and she said, and I disturbed her because every time I hear something, I look because my back was to the door. And she said, you know what, Ms. Knight, you hear everything. And I said, yeah, I don't like to be caught off guard because I'm looking for what I can grab real quick. I don't know who's back there, who's lurking. But I'm always looking. I always tell people everything in my office is a weapon. I'll paper cut you to death. Don't don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't get hyped up in here. Don't think and me in my shape now. Oh, don't get this twisted. Please don't get this twisted. I kick and headbutt whatever I have to do. Push you into a hole. I'm sorry. That's not the kind of show. I'm sorry. Let me dial it back. I'm sorry. See how things can go. You see how you can get all worked up. Jesus, forgive me. I'm not a violent person. Really not. But don't get it twisted. If I have to show up, I'm going to show up. If I got to put my eyes on you. Anyway, 'tis the season. De-stress yourself now. This is priority. You have to do it before 2023 gets here. Because we're already being told 2023 ain't going to be nothing compared to 2020. It's not going to be nothing compared to 2021, nothing compared to this year. All the stuff is unfolding. Go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
I just want to, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. I just want to throw this out. But before 2022 ends, you know, and get your, I encourage folks to get a piece of paper out and write down, if you're going through something, the people that you can call, write them on a piece of paper and the phone numbers. And, you know, and just, and maybe some other helpful numbers, 988, the suicide, you know, these numbers. So if you feel like, wow, what do I do next? Go to your piece of paper and start dialing. But being able to have these conversations with people who are in your circle. Look, I'm going through something, might need to call you, yada, 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 you know, and you will be surprised who would listen. And I want to take the people that just also note to the folks that are receiving information, just don't seem like, oh, you know, like you out just to get the news, and don't do that. Just listen. Sometimes it's just a matter of listening. And I know we've in this type of field, we had, whether we work sometime, excuse me, but developing like a contract. Suicide, if you feel that this is what you're going to do, before you do anything, you call me. You know, and it sounds kind of cliche-ish and cheesy, but it could work. Before you do anything, you make sure you talk to me first, and you let me know this is what you're going to do. And it's a contract that the person who's going signs that and agrees to, this is what the steps I'll take before I'll do that. And people are going to say, well, why would you do that? Well, you want to have something in place where they are reaching out and being able to have a plan of action in place should they. And the intent might not be to really do away with it, but they could take something that's too much and ultimately do that. They could cut too deep if they say, okay, I just want to, you know, no, just develop a plan of action. You can always call, go to the emergency room, you tell them, hey, this is how I'm feeling. Call 911 if you need to. This is how I'm feeling. You know, don't want to hurt anyone, but just to reach out. The suicide hotline, 988, which I think is great, because who can remember all those 1-800 when you're going through something? I don't have time to remember that. I need to get to something now. And I think if we start doing that, it's before the new year before the year ends, just identifying your support systems and your people that you talk, and have these dialogues with your family member. Look, girl, call me if you need. Yo, man, call me if you need me, you know, and creating atmospheres like that where people will feel comfortable may have to let the guard down. Where there's a whole lot of crying, fine, cry it out. More room out than in. Because if you hold it in, that's medical issues, that's, you know, self-destruction and all that. And I just wanted to kind of get that out, Leisha.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right, Trey. You know, write down those numbers. We only got a couple of minutes, but write down those numbers and write down those support systems. And even if you're a leader and you're a person of great esteem, you know, don't be ashamed or afraid to be able to lay your sword down, lay your weaponry down, and be yourself and let people know you are hurting. Oh, I don't understand this. And please, you know, you can set the stage for that. We're going to talk about that in January, most definitely. Now, next week, you know, we're following up right behind Christmas. So we're going to have just a repeat of one of our shows. And so we definitely won't see you till the first Monday in January. So please do whatever you need to do. You can always respond on the chat. For any of our social media on YouTube or here on Facebook. If you're just going through something, get in touch with one of us in any kind of way you can. We will find you. I will pray. If you need just prayer, if you just need prayer, we will pray for each and every one of you. No questions asked. I don't need to know your name. I'm not going to charge you. I just want to let you know that you do have somebody out here that can listen to you. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not our job. It's just to let you get this all out. And the last little piece here, most people do hurt themselves when they're on a high. They don't do it when they're unhappy. We'll talk about that again in January. That's our time. You all be blessed. Stay safe. Please stay safe.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. And you all be blessed. We'll see you in 2023. Take care.